Your anger is screaming at you. But the problem is, you won't shut up long enough and listen. My name is Marquez Pye. I'm an emotional fitness coach for people who are tired of letting their thoughts, feelings, and emotions run, rule, and wreck their lives. And in this video, I'm going to show you what anger really is, why it's affecting you the way that it is, and show you how to regulate your emotion so that when you are angry, you can calm down and still be able to make good decisions. That way, you won't end up saying or doing something that you're just going to end up regretting later on. Now, before we get started, the first thing I want to do is give you and show you the true definition of anger. Anger is a powerful, natural human emotion that we all feel when we're sensing some type of displeasure, injustice, fear, or like a boundary has been crossed, right? But I want to pause for a second because I feel like anger gets a bad rep. Anger gets picked on because it's easy to see. But a lot of times you hear a lot of people make it seem like there's something wrong with getting angry. You see all these videos of how to get angry less. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should always be angry or anything like that, but anger is actually healthy. The reason why anger is healthy is because anger is just like any other emotion, and every emotion, including anger, is doing two things. It is giving you information and it's giving you data. The problem is most people take the information that the emotion is giving them and they use the information as instructions, or they use the data as directions. But you can't do that, because when you do that, the emotion is in control of you and you're no longer in control of the emotion. So the problem isn't that you get angry. The problem is that you don't do the right things when you are angry. And that's most of our problem, right? So that's why I want to make sure that I'm crystal clear on this. The goal isn't to never get angry. The goal is to make sure that we're always making the right decisions when we are angry, because you're going to get angry. I don't care what anybody tells you. Everybody gets angry, and that's okay. Now I want you to picture this. It's midnight and you're asleep. You and your wife are asleep in the bed, and all of a sudden you hear your alarm system go off in your house, and you wake up. Would you wake up and immediately go cut the alarm off, or would you immediately go to find out what triggered the alarm in the first place? If you're smart, I would assume that you would probably choose the second option, right? Go see what triggered the alarm in the first place. That alarm is trying to let you know that something is wrong. Something somewhere happened that should not have happened. And just like that alarm in your house is doing that, anger is doing or trying to do the exact same thing. But like I said at the opening of this video, most of the time we won't go look to see what triggered the alarm, what triggered the emotion, what triggered the anger. We just react to it instead of trying to figure out what triggered it or tripped it in the first place. Now, for most of us, we're under a lot of pressure. We have a lot of responsibilities. So everybody's facing immense pressure. We have to make decisions all day, every day. So a lot of times we're under stress because we have decision fatigue, right? We know we got people counting on us. We know we got bills to pay. We know we got teams that rely on us and people that rely on us. So at the end of the day, we all have excuses or reasons for why we could be angry or for why we could be stressed and overwhelmed, right? But we're going to really focus on anger today, right? Because I want to get you to understand something. Again, that anger is not bad. Anger is healthy. Anger is normal. Anger is natural. And you need to understand that. But you need to make sure, though, that when you get angry, that you're looking into your anger and not just reacting to the anger. So that's what we're trying to deal with in this video. What is anger? Anger is a natural human emotion. Now, point number 2. Why is anger affecting you the way that it is? And the answer to that question is, I don't know. The only person that can answer that is you. So what I've done is I have this thing called a background check. So what it does is it takes you through a series of 7 steps to help you unpack your mental luggage so that you can really get an understanding of why you behave the way that you do, why you act the way that you do, and why you make the decisions that you do. So if you want it, I'll leave a link for that down in the description below. But here's what I found out about myself. The reason why anger was affecting me the way that it was because I had been through some severe trauma in my life. I grew up in a very hostile environment, grew up experiencing child abuse. And one of the main things for me that it took me a long time to understand was that my anger was covering up pain. And because I was stuck in survival mode, I had unconsciously made a choice to never let anyone or anything hurt me again, the same way that I had got hurt in childhood. And so because of that, it didn't take much for me to snap. It didn't take much for me to react. It didn't take much for me to just get angry and hulk out and rage out and just start smashing everything because I was trying to protect myself. A lot of times, anger gets the blame for things that it didn't even do or things that it didn't even cause. Here's what I mean. When it comes to anger, it is a lot easier to use anger as a cover-up. It's easier to say I'm angry rather than just say I'm afraid. It's easier to say I'm angry rather it is than to just say I'm ashamed. It's easier to say I'm angry rather than just say I feel abandoned, right? And for some of us, the reason why we do that is because the only emotion that we really know of is anger. We don't know about the other things. We don't realize that the other things are what's lying underneath the anger. And so we don't even realize that we're using anger as a cover-up. But because anger is such a powerful emotion, it gives us this false sense of control, this false sense of strength, right? And so because it's such a powerful emotion, it's easy to pick up and use as a tool to cover up whatever it is that we're really we really need to express and expound on. So we'll use anger in situations where anger is really not even called for or even necessary. So for me, I was doing that. So a lot of times situations will happen. If I ever felt misunderstood, if I ever felt like I wasn't accepted, if I ever felt like I wasn't loved, if I ever felt like someone was threatening me, if I ever felt like someone was mistreating me, I would just get angry. So it took me a while to really understand that anger wasn't my problem. For years, I was trying to fix my anger and my lack of patience and trying to stop making impulsive decisions and reactions. But I didn't realize that the anger was just the fruit on the tree. The reason why it's so easy to deal with the anger or try to deal with the anger and the other emotions, or maybe even deal with certain behaviors, is because those are the fruits. And it's easier to see the fruit on the tree rather than it is to see the root of the tree. And so a lot of us never really dig below the surface to see the root or the cause of the actual problem. We only look at the effect. And so because we stay stuck on the effect, or in most common cases, the behaviors or the emotion itself, we don't really look to find out or seek to find out what the underlying story is that is attached to that emotion, what the underlying issue is that it triggered that emotion in the first place. And if you pay attention, your emotion, your anger, or anger rather, I don't want to say your anger because that's something that we have to stop doing. We have to stop self-identifying with the emotion itself and realize that we are not our emotions. Our emotions are something that we feel and something that we experience, but they are not us. And the reason why it's so hard to break free from that thought or that belief is because that emotion feels so real. It feels like it's a part of us. We've been used to experiencing it for so long, it's become a part of us, a part of our identity, a part of who we are. The emotion isn't who we are, right? It's just something that we feel. So we have to go below the surface to figure out what the anger is trying to actually tell us. Now, anger only exists for a few things. The first thing, typically, the majority of the reasons why we get angry is because we felt like there was some form of injustice that was done, right? Somebody mistreated us. Somebody didn't pay attention to us. Somebody's not listening to us. Expectations that went unmet. Things like that. Somebody did something wrong to us or someone we love or to somebody else and we just couldn't stand for it, so we got angry, right? But listen, this is what I want you to do going forward. The next time that you get angry, I want you to ask yourself two questions. The first question is, what need did I have that didn't get met? The second question is, what did I want that I didn't get? So if you can answer those two questions, you can typically figure out why you're angry. So now that we know what anger is, now that we know why it affects us the way that it does, or we're going to download the background check so we can figure that out. Now we need to find out how to regulate our emotions, how to regulate our nervous system when we're angry, when we're upset, when we're frustrated, when we're stressed, when we're pissed off, so that we don't do or say the wrong thing. We still have to be able to make good, rational, logical decisions. You have to stop letting your emotions make your decisions for you. You have to stop letting your emotions run, rule, and wreck your life. Your emotions cannot be in the driver's seat. You have to remain in the driver's seat at all times, no matter how powerful that emotion is, or no matter how big of a sensation that emotional reaction is giving you. You have to stay in control of you at all times. This just is what it is. Now, what we're about to do is I'm going to take you through my 5-step process. This is called my R-rated framework. This is going to help you regulate your nervous system, regulate your emotions, so that when something is going on, when you're having an overstimulated event, when you're having an emotional reaction in your body, you'll still be able to bring yourself back to center. You'll be able to bring yourself back to a calm state. You'll be able to regulate yourself and keep yourself in control so that you can make good decisions, right? Because that's what everybody's trying to do. That's why you're watching this video. So let's get to it. The first step to fixing or solving any problem is to recognize it. You have to first be made aware of what's going on with you. So the first step is you have to recognize the emotion. You have to understand what you're feeling. And like I said before, sometimes we don't have the vocabulary because we don't have an emotional education. So we're oblivious or we're ignorant to what we're actually experiencing in our body. Now, I'm not saying that your feelings matter and that your feelings should be the only thing that you pay attention to per se. But what I am trying to say is you got to be honest with yourself, man. If you're pissed off, you're just pissed off. Be honest. Hey, man, I'm angry right now. I'm upset right now. That doesn't make you more or less of a man. It doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you strong for being able to see what's going on with you and admit to yourself what's going on with you. Because if you won't admit it to you, then nobody's going to be able to help you. So you have to admit it to yourself. You have to recognize, you have to be aware, you have to see what's going on with you. The second step is you have to relate to the emotion. You have to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, right? So you recognize it, and then you got to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Then you have to relate to it, and you have to see, why is this bothering me? What is this trying to tell me? What do I want that I didn't get? What need do I have that wasn't met? What expectation did I have that went unmet or didn't go the way that I think it was going to go or thought it was going to go? Like I said, the anger could very well be justified, but you still have to figure out where the anger emotion is coming from. Because a lot of times what I noticed was my anger response wasn't really a response to what was going on in the situation. Sometimes it was, but oftentimes it wasn't. It was a response to a memory that I had from back in the day. It was a response to an experience that I had went through in my childhood. It was a response to some pain or some trauma or a wound that hadn't been treated or dealt with yet. And so if you can allow yourself to understand and figure that out and say, hey, what is the story that's behind this emotion? Because before there was ever an emotion, there was a story. The emotion is attached to a story. The emotion is attached to a meaning. The emotion is attached to a definition that you gave an experience, a definition that you gave a previous or a past event that happened in your life. So you got to figure out what is lying underneath the surface of that anger, of that emotion, of that stimulus. So you got to recognize, you have to relate, and then you have to do the third step, which is to regulate the emotion. Now, this is where we bring ourselves back to center. We calm ourselves down because we can't make good decisions when we're emotionally activated, emotionally charged up, when we're overstimulated and emotionally dysfunctional and dysregulated. It's hard to do for anybody. It don't matter how much of an emotional education you have. It don't matter how many big words you know. It does not matter if you know what every emotion in a dictionary is and how to define it. None of that matters. If you cannot regulate your emotions, regulate your nervous system, bring yourself back down so that you can make decisions from a calm, cool, and collected state, it won't matter. And then that leads us to the next step. After you regulate, now we got to do something different, something that we're not used to doing. Instead of reacting to the emotion, now we have to respond to the emotion. I think of reaction as an immature child. What would an immature child do? They would just pitch a tantrum, throw a fit, whine when they don't get their way. Why? Because they're immature and they don't know what to do. They don't know the right thing to do, the right decisions to make, the right actions to take. But as the parent, you're more responsible. You know the right thing to do. You know the right things to say. You know the right actions to take. You know what you should do. You know right from wrong. You understand it. But a lot of us, we've never trained ourselves. Remember, I told you, it takes skills. It takes skills to be able to regulate your emotions. It takes skills to be able to control yourself when you're emotionally dysregulated. It takes skills to be able to control yourself in the heat of the moment. It takes skills to still make good decisions when things aren't going your way. It takes skills. How do you get skills? You learn, you get taught them, you get trained on them. That's how you develop, you practice. So every opportunity that you get angry going forward is an opportunity for you to practice and develop these skills. So after you learn to regulate, then you learn that you have to stop reacting every time you feel an emotion, every time you feel an urge, every time you feel a sensation, and now you have to start responding like a mature adult, responding like someone who has some sense, responding like someone who cares about their future, right? Because you can't lash out on your wife because she pisses you off or because she's nagging and you can go punch her in the face or push her. No, that won't work. You'll be in jail. You can't lash out on your kids because they bring a bad grade home or they embarrass you in public and then you do something that you'll regret or you end up in jail for child abuse. No, that's not what we're trying to do. You can't turn the TV on porn every time you feel a sensation of lust or desire to get one off. No, that's not what we're trying to do. You can't every time you feel an emotion or a sensation run to drugs, alcohol, or some other substance and abuse it because you just want to numb it or suppress it or get away from it or act like it doesn't exist. No, you have to feel what you're feeling and then you have to deal with what you're feeling. There's no other way around it. So when you're responding, what you're doing essentially is you're saying, the person that I want to be, what would he do? What would she do? How would he or she act and respond to this, right? That's what you're doing going forward. You're making decisions as if you were the future you, the better version of you, the you that you want to be, the you that you need to be to achieve your goals, the you that you need to be to achieve your dreams, the you that you need to be to make good decisions at all times or consistently, the you that you need to be to have and experience success in every area of your life, the you that you need to be to not allow your thoughts, feelings, and emotions to run, rule, and wreck your life. And wreck your marriage, and wreck your relationships with your kids, and wreck your relationships with your friends, and wreck your relationships with your family, and wreck your relationships with your coworkers, and wreck your relationships with your teammates, and wreck your relationships with your business partners. What does that person do? That's where the response comes from. Remember, the old you got you in the position that you're in. You're literally experiencing the life that you're experiencing because of who you are right now. You have to shift your identity. You have to shift your focus into the future you now. Because the old me, it can't get me where I want to go. What does the new me want me to do? That's what you start responding like. You start responding like the best version of you. Because that's the version of you that's going to get you to your goals. All right. Now, the last step, after you've recognized, after you've related, after you've regulated, after you've responded instead of reacting, the next and last step is to repeat. You have to continuously put in work. You have to continuously get the reps in. You can't go to the gym and think you're going to get a bigger chest by lifting one rep. You have to go in there and lift multiple reps for multiple sets. Why? Because it's repetitions that create new patterns that create new habits that create new behaviors, which habits are consistent behaviors rather, right? So, and those new consistent behaviors then turn into a new body in the future. In the same way that it works for physical fitness, it works the same way for emotional fitness. These reps that you put in when you're in the moment, when you're emotionally charged, when you're emotionally stimulated, when you're emotionally dysregulated, when you put these reps in and you practice these steps repeatedly, time after time after time after time, it allows you to go from putting in reps to now you're changing your behavior. And now the behavior that you have is leading to you getting the life that you actually want, the life that you've dreamed about, the success, the better marriage, the better relationship with your kids, the better ability to run your business and do the things that you know that you should be doing in your business to get to the income level that you want to get to in your business. That's what this will allow you to do. But it starts by taking reps. It starts by putting in the work. Each and every time you have to consistently go to the gym. Your life is the gym. Life is going to consistently and continually put pain, pressure, and problems in your life. It is going to throw these things in your life, whether you want them to be in your life or not. Like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan till they get punched in the mouth. But the reason why you have a hard time following through, the reason why you have a hard time reaching your goals, achieving your dreams, the reason why you have a hard time experiencing lasting success in every area of your life is because when pain, pressure, and problems show up, you quit. When life gets hard and heavy, you give up. But we're breaking that cycle today. Today, we're going to commit to putting in the work. We're going to commit to putting in the reps. We're going to commit to no longer allowing anger or any other emotion to control us. But we're going to make sure that we maintain control over our own lives. It's not about what you went through in your life. I cannot continue to wrap my identity and hang my head on the trauma that I went through and experienced in my life. I have to move on. I have to get rid of that story. I have to let that story go. I don't have to attach my worth and my value to that story. I'm not the kid that's going to get hurt. I'm not the kid that's fighting for his life. I'm not the kid that's having to deal with an adult's emotions. No, that's not me no more. I have the right to move on. I have the right to grow. I have the right to do better and be better. And just like I have the right to let that story go and write a new story for my life, you have the same right. You have the same choice. Are you going to continue to live by the old stories that caused you to react every time you felt an emotional urge, emotional sensation, every time you felt emotionally dysregulated? Or are you saying, you know what, those stories no longer serve me? I refuse to continue to make impulsive decisions. I refuse to continue to watch pornography. I refuse to continue to lash out in anger. I refuse to do that. I'm going to be in control of myself. Now, don't get me wrong. This process is not easy. It is extremely hard, especially when you have been away for so long. But look, if you want help learning how to master your emotions so that they no longer run, rule, or wreck your life, so that you can continuously and constantly make good decisions, the decisions that you know you should be making, that will lead your life in the direction that you want it to go, so that you can reach your full potential, achieve your goals, and experience success in every area of your life, then I'll leave a link down in the description below for you to contact me. It's going to take you to my Instagram. You're going to DM me the word success, and we can talk about what it looks like for me to help you learn how to master your emotions, so I can help teach you and train you so that you can have the skills that you need so that you can be able to be in control of yourself at all times. But remember, you're not going to be perfect when you first start doing this. I don't want anybody to think that. This is going to take practice. You are going to have to train. You're going to have to go through things. And sometimes you're going to feel like you're not getting anywhere. But I promise you, I've been there. I know what it feels like. You're going to get better at this. And like I said, if you need my help, I got you. You know what to do. Until the next video, remember, if you can control and master your emotions, you can become unstoppable. Peace.